I have added a task scheduling feature to Agent AGI. Let's see how it works. So I'm going to give it a command, schedule every 20 seconds, search for latest LLM news. Now we have a task scheduled with ID 1. Now this task is going to run every 20 seconds. It is a tool called Search with Exa, search only since the 16th, which is since yesterday. Okay. 20 seconds has passed and now it's running its scheduled task and it wants to call its tool search term. And when it gets the results, it actually saves them here. As you can see, this is the internet search results. I can actually cancel this task by saying cancel task and 1. And now that task has been canceled. We already have the search results. If I didn't cancel the task, it was going to run it every 20 seconds. It doesn't have to be seconds. You can give it every so many hours or every so many days. Now let's ask it to read the search result and summarize them to a summary.txt file. It doesn't have the proper tools to do this. So let's see what it's going to do. Now it wants to create a read files from directory tool. As you can see, it's going to read all the JSON files. So we may have multiple results there, and it wants to add a new function tool to write file, as we asked it to write it summary.txt. It didn't have this tool before, and now it's doing all these tasks automatically in real time. It's now reading the directory search results, and now it wants to write it to file here. This is the summary of the search results from this results that Exa returned. Code files for Agent AGI is available at my Patreon. You can download it from there. Link will be in the description. You can do fun stuff with this. For example, here, dash schedule every 5 seconds, tell me a joke. And we have scheduled this task. And now every 5 seconds, it's just telling me a joke. I'm going to cancel this task. And I can also list the tasks, I believe, like this. And there is no scheduled tasks. I have also improved this prompt greatly. Now it has much better reasoning. It can execute multiple actions in a row, create tools, and use them as well. If you watch my previous videos on Agent AGI, it only has a single tool, which is to create, update, and delete tools. And let's now look at actually how we were able to create this search and save tool by using Exa's API. To be able to use Exa, you need an account with Exa's API and an API key. Also, if you'd like to learn more about Agent AGI, watch this video. If you want a full code review of the Agent AGI demo and code review, I also have 2 other videos on Agent AGI on my website, echohive.live, and also on my channel. So let's delete all its tools right now, all the tools it has created, and we can begin from scratch. As you can see, this is its one tool that actually creates, updates, and deletes tools. So now that we've deleted its tools, if we were to say hi, this changes that we have done to the functions.py file will be automatically detected and new tool definitions, old tool definitions will be removed. Here we go, everything's now updated. Here in this exa.py file, I have a quick actually example code on how to call the Exa's API for you just see, yes, with the start publish date parameter, it's going to return 5 results. As you can see, this already has a search term because this is just an example code, and here is the sample code on how to extract the data and save it to JSON file. Now let's give it this task to create the tool that it needs. As you remember, we have deleted all of its tools, and it only has its original tool to create tools. So we're going to ask it to read the file exa.py, which contains our sample code, to search the web, then create a tool using Exa, which takes in a search term, searches Exa as the sample code from exa.py, and save the results to JSON. Each file is saved separately. Let's see what it does. So now it doesn't have many tools. Actually, it doesn't have any tools. It wants to create a read file tool to be able to read the exa.py file. Then it wants to read the exa.py to get the contents of it. And now it wants to create a search and save term. And it says that exa_py is not pip installed. Let's go ahead and allow it to install that, which is the Exa library. Did that, and it added the search and save Exa as you can see, now we can actually use this tool. Everything's updated automatically. Search for, it's a search for latest AI news, and it wants to use its tool, and I'll save the search results here. As you can see, this search results returned from EXA, and now we can ask it to read it and summarize it and all of that. But we could have also scheduled the task by asking it with the dash schedule command that it has. So now I will be reviewing the code for this update, but the code files for this will be available at my Patreon at architect level. Link will be in the description. I would like to take a moment to talk about the benefits of becoming a patron. As some of you may know, in the last year and a half, I've spent 3,000 hours, over 300 projects. As a patron, you will have access to all the code files so you can get inspiration and iterate quickly. Another benefit is that you'll have access to all my courses. And my most recent and most proud one, the 1000x Masterclass, teaching what I've learned on how to code fast and efficiently. Also the Streamlit course and the Fast API course. In my Patreon, I also have tiers in which you can connect with me one-on-one. Check those out as well. Agent AGI is also multimodal with vision capabilities. When you run Agent AGI, this window pops up. For example, I can take a snapshot of the search results, paste it, window, and ask, please summarize. And it now is going to consider this image and responding. Here we go. This is the response. You can also upload images, multiple images. You can also drag and drop them. You can remove images as well. So it works really well. It also has a voice mode. I can type in dash voice, and now I can ask it, I can just press enter and talk to it. Can you please summarize that even further? There we go. And to actually get out of voice mode, I can say, please switch back to text. Because when it detects switch in text in the transcription, it will automatically switch back to text. If you, like I said, if you like to learn more about Agent AGI, just check out my other videos on it. Now I'll review how I added the task scheduler in the hopes that that will be helpful for you. But if you want a full code review, please watch this video right here. Okay. So Agent AGI works off of several files. This Agent Tool Multimodal file is its main file, chat loop. It also has helpers.py and a function definer, which uses GPT-4 Omni, and functions.py, in which you can build its tools. But in this helper.py file, I've added several new functions, such as the scheduled task dictionary, the scheduled task, which takes in a task description, interval, unit, answer question func, which is the answer question function from Agent Tool Multimodal. This function right here, which is our main function. And it calls in a prompt callback because we're going to run the scheduler in a separate thread. And since it's going to have print statements, we would also like to print back this U to indicate to the user that the turn has come back to them. Unfortunately, when you run specific functions in another thread, then the printing to the main terminal becomes problematic. That's why we're going to have a prompt callback to actually print the U back in. So it's going to be a function which we pass into this. So here we specify the task ID, and then we have a run task. The task description is going to be non-local. We're going to print which scheduled task we're running, and then we are going to call the answer question func with that task description. And then we're going to print the results of the scheduled task, and then we're going to call the prompt callback, which is going to be actually just this prompt user message when we're not in the voice mode. We are just printing this U to just as an indicator to the user. Okay, we are using the schedule library, so I've added that into the requirements. This is a really nice library to schedule tasks. So we are using that. Here, we are deciding here, scheduler actually has a really nice input for every so many seconds, minutes, hours, or days. And then here's going to be the scheduled task dictionary with the description, interval, unit, and a job ID. and that's just going to return the task ID. The scheduled task is going to actually look into this dictionary and print them. Cancel task is to take in a task ID and then cancel it, and then run scheduled task is just to run it. But in our main chat loop, which is the chatbot function, we are starting a thread with the run scheduled task function, which we are importing from helpers along with all the rest of the necessary stuff. And when we enter the while loop, we're going to have several commands. For example, it can be voice mode and stuff like that. So we're going to check for whether user wants to quit, whether user wants to switch to a voice. But if the user wants to schedule, then we are going to actually, this command actually needs to be written in this format. So if you actually by mistakenly write something else, it should have a print statement explaining the usage and then with an example. So we parse it with we parse the user input, and then we check for and then we return the interval unit task and description from the parts. And that interval is going to equal the interval, and we just check that everything has to be written properly. And once we have parsed the user answer by splitting it, then we pass it to the scheduled task function, task description interval unit, answer question, and prompt user function. This is the callback, which we have defined up here. Then that's it. Otherwise, if the user says list task, we call the list scheduled task function. If it's a cancel task, then we again split it and get the task ID. And with the ID, we call the cancel task function. Other than that, the rest of the code remains the same. I have also improved its reasoning capabilities. If you want to stop and read this prompt, in addition to the system prompt, this now actually makes it be able to handle multiple tool actions so much better. Like I said, the code files for Agent AGI will be available for architect level patrons, but I do have a more minimal version available for connoisseur level patrons as well. But that doesn't have any voice or vision multimodality, and it also doesn't have the task scheduler. But you can find a link for that in the description as well. Thank you for watching this. I hope you found this useful. If you do decide to become a patron, take a look around. I have one-on-one consulting and video meeting tiers there as well, if you take a look at some of the higher tiers. I also host every weekend so far, Ask Me Anything meeting with architect level patrons. So in those, architect level patrons get a chance to ask me anything or talk to other patrons, and also we just do live coding and general discussions. So I've started being much more active on X. My handle is @hive_echo. If you like to follow me, see different posts there as well, and some short videos you might find them useful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I would like to take a moment to talk about the benefits of becoming a patron. As some of you may know, in the last year and a half, I've spent 3,000 hours, over 300 projects. As a patron, you will have access to all the code files so you can get inspiration and iterate quickly. Another benefit is that you'll have access to all my courses, and my most recent and most proud one, the 1000X Masterclass, teaching what I've learned on how to code fast and efficiently. Also the Streamlit course and the Fast API course. In my Patreon, I also have tiers in which you can connect with me one-on-one. Check those out as well.